Yeah, man, we live, bro. We live in this mud shit.
Look at it live. What's up, y'all? It's been about 3 weeks. I've grown about no inches, but I at least haven't shrunken, so that's pretty damn good. Alfred, on the other hand, has grown horizontally from the ear
Yeah, yeah,
section.
yeah.
It just goes out.
Yeah, don't even look at my ears, yo. Those
Hey, let me
stupid
see that
damn
shirt. Let me see that
masks.
shirt. What you got in there? What you got? A little Hendrix?
Yeah, little Jimmy,
A little Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Speaking of which, I don't think the watchers or listeners are gonna really get this. But let me ask you a question: whatever happened to that guy named Jimmy? Remember Jimmy from about 10 years ago? I think
AKA,
everybody. I
what,
think.
what
Time
is,
out a second. I think anybody and everybody that could ever watch this video, will always have a Jimmy from about 10 years ago in their life. Now, you remember Jimmy from about 10 years ago? So, what about the Jimmy from our 10 years ago? Alfred, can you tell us about that?
funny enough, I work with a Jimmy now. Mad cool dude, man. Real down to earth. But the old Jimmy, the 10-year
We
Jimmy,
don't care about that one. I want to know about the one from
yeah,
10 years ago.
I don't know. It's been a long minute, but
He's an enigma. He just faded into the fucking. He
that guy
came.
he came
He came out of a cloud of smoke and he just went right back into the
He
cloud of
was
smoke.
like one of those characters in the storyline that he comes in for like a portion of a scene,
What a
and then they write
weird.
him off as like suspect number one or suspect number two. Bye, he's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Exit stage left, bro. I remember. I'll never forget the story, bro. So I'm gonna share a quick little story about that. I remember he had a little son, and if you're watching this, brother, hey, much love, nothing against you, but it's just a funny part of our life. You kind of were just like a little blip in the radar. So we went to Orlando with that guy. Remember that?
Yeah, we went to water. Was it
Watercrest.
water? I don't know if it was
We
Watercrest.
went to we
Or
went
water
we
park.
went to we went to an off-brand water park called Water Park in the outskirts of Orlando. Yo, where'd you go? Water Park. Which one? That one.
That one, yeah, the one you had
Eh,
slides on.
yeah, there was a nail on one of the slides. Wait, no, I'm just kidding. There wasn't.
God
No,
gracious, yo,
it was
damn.
actually it was a place. I think it was called like Aquanetta or something like something
Aquatica.
like that. Aquatica. What did I call it? Aquanetica?
Aquanetica. I don't know. That might be like in the Netherlands.
It sounds like a little. It sounds like a little kid trying to say Connecticut.
Aquanetica. I want to go there, papi. Aquanetica.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
I'm
check
like a
it.
Dominican trying to say Connecticut. That's what you said?
Yeah,
Oye, we
make
aquí
that.
mismito está. Muy
Aquí en la
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
You know? I live there now.
But damn, but all this shit is a random stories because there's one that reminded. Well, I'm gonna get back to the original one, but
Yeah.
Aquanetica and how you just like turned it into a Dominican, not knowing how to say it the right way, or any Hispanic person that doesn't, have mastery of the English language. That reminds me of one time I was at Meineke. You know what Meineke is, right?
Yeah, the car place.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic. They overcharge you like a fucking, like a total rate charge
That's the
there.
big brother of
Um,
Midas.
Whatever, bro. Long story short, they're your daddy when you go there. But so we were waiting, my mom, my sister, and my mom just like something happened side of the road. She had to just it was the closest place she could take it to get it fixed right then and there. And so we're waiting in the waiting room, and I'm drinking coffee that it was like maybe 4 p.m. and drunk. I was drinking coffee that was brewed like around 4 in the morning, and it was disgusting, totally burnt, totally stale. And there's this guy on the phone, and he's like total Cuban dude, probably speaks maybe a handful of words in English. He goes, no, porque sí, estoy aquí en Mequineque. And I'm like, did I hear that right? He goes, sí, no, es un lugar aquí donde arreglan carros, se llama Mequineque. And I'm like, bro, I think you threw in like 3 or 4 extra K's in that word. I'm not gonna lie, kid. I think you need to go look at that sign one more time. But then so that's the story about the funny words that can be said improperly. But before I hijack the show anymore, the story about Jimmy's kid. I want to strangle that kid, bro. And if he's probably a big kid, because Jimmy was a big guy. He's probably grown. It's been 10 years. He's probably like almost 18.
That kid grew from like
now
3 feet tall to like probably like 6 now.
his name was Jimito. I'll never forget it because he was basically little Jimmy. But Jimito is kind of is funny. Everything about this guy is just there's always
It was
something.
just
Just a little fun.
he was like the typical dad shorts.
He looked like a Fred Flintstone from like in his 20s, like a young Fred Flintstone.
Yes.
Yeah, he just had that big, burly kind of like look.
Yeah, like,
But
what's up, Macho? What's going on, bro?
yeah, nice, total nice guy. But
How's
the
the family?
kid,
Oh, you good?
but the kid. Let me tell you about that
That
kid.
kid was a storm, bro.
You know what that kid did to me? Forget about the storm. I'm gonna tell you what that kid did to my eye.
Oh
So
yeah, I remember this.
we go to the
Hold on,
Everglades,
hold
bro.
on. I
What,
remember
bro?
this because I was
Look
there.
at this. I know you were.
We went to the Mikazukis and we were putting on the bug spray. You were standing next to him, and he had it pointed towards you, thinking he was gonna put some sun spray on himself.
Nah. That's not the way
He
that kid's
sprayed you
mind.
right in the eye, and then you ran to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
but let me explain to you the
Bathroom
way
had that water
the
from
way the machinations of the story happened were not because the kid was just trying to be, responsible and apply, mosquito spray on him. That kid didn't give a fuck about that. He was trying to see how that hole worked and how far that fucking shit can spray. And he looked at me and he goes, and he fucking sprayed that shit with the most sinister, pushing of the damn shit. And I get sprayed right in the cornea, bro.
Bro, I laughed so fucking hard. And the
Yeah,
worst
yeah,
part was,
Sharpie.
man, are you killing flies like that?
Go quack.
The funniest part of all was when we went to the bathroom. And I'm like, bro, come get some water in your eye, get that out of your eye. The water smelled like urine, dog.
Everglade water is straight
Everglade
from the
water
source.
smelled like
The source being the crack in somebody's ass, because that shit smells like straight culo water, bro. Culo water. It's just like, well, think about it. Like Miami has the Virginia Key, water reservoir, and they have the plant where they treat it and they add like, chemicals, and, not that that's a great thing, but the fact is that your water doesn't smell like a fucking turd was just brining in it for about, a day. Or what, it was horrible. I would have dealt with the stinging in my eye. At least my eye was insect repellent ready. That eye was not gonna get
no insects in your eye.
I wasn't gonna get sucked no blood out of this eye right here. It was gonna be
able to
okay.
Either.
So thanks to Jimito, bro, little Jimito, bro, and that little kid, bro. And I remember he would call, instead of alligator, which I can't fault the kid for this, he would call it a crocodile, but he didn't say crocodile. He would call it a cocodrile. And it was just so funny, bro. That I kept egging that on. I was like, "Hey, so what's that?" It's a cocodrile. And he would say with that little
gift store. That was a crazy.
Oh shit! He fucking threw a fit, dog.
He went bananas in there.
Yo, that kid pitched a bitch like I have never seen over a keychain. Over an insignificant keychain. Which, two things. Okay, I would have whooped that kid's ass, because you're not gonna fucking throw a damn fit in the middle of Sierra days. Not that many people of
it was so
of consequence were there. But yeah, we all were. But the thing was, it was that, and it was just like, my dude, buy the 50-cent keychain and shut the kid up. 50 fucking cents, bro. Want me to pay it? I'll pay it. But pay the fucking shit, because this kid is just throwing a fit over here for no damn reason, because you can't discipline him. But if you don't want to discipline, then spend the money. It's like, okay, either you spoil the kid because you're spending a little bit of money, or you discipline the kid. But you can't get either one right.
You can't just leave him in limbo, man.
Shit.
The kid's going crazy.
I don't really know what kind of start we're getting off to. We've been off for about 3 weeks, so obviously we're a little rusty. So we start off with a story of an obscure person named Jimmy. God bless him. Hope he's
welcome back, everybody. Bienvenidos.
Welcome back.
Our humble home. Back to the show, the podcast.
So anyhow, man. So, just to say the date, it's September. No, it's not September. It's August.
September. Hold on. What the hell?
It's August 29, Saturday.
Flying too fast. I gotta pay the rent on the first. Hold on.
Yeah, fuck, for real, me too.
I'll make a brother forget.
The sad story today is actor Chadwick Boseman. We all know him, obviously, most notably from Black Panther. He played T'Challa. 43 years old, man. And when I saw the news, my girl sent me the DM, and I saw that. And typically, you're like, what do you normally hear from celebrities? Oh, overdose, or God forbid, a car accident because they were driving fast, like in a sports car. You know, what happened with Kobe, you know, unfortunately, which was
That's the
obviously.
first thing that came to my mind. I had
So
that,
there's just,
that feeling.
right. So you think, and obviously the worst didn't come to my mind. Well, the worst being already what already happened naturally, but what led to that was, to me, I was just like, what could this have been? Until I was obviously done reading the, you know, the caption, and that leads me to, obviously, you know, it hit close to home for me, but because my mom obviously, you know, was diagnosed with the same thing 2 years ago, and fortunately, you know, she had been able to receive excellent treatment, excellent care. My mom was doing Zumba and from her living room the other day. She's in excellent shape, um, because she's also a strong person. She doesn't let that kind of shit beat her down.
Survival,
And
man.
so there's several aspects to this that I want to talk about with you, because it taught me two things, man. That guy was really a strong character guy, man. Because think about this. Not like who would have known this guy was battling something
Four
in the
years or
last
3 years?
four, because it's been four years, stage four, which is the same thing. Like my mom had, you know, stage four means that, okay, so, you know, I may be a little bit simplifying this, but colon cancer, because my dad also had it, so I have to get screened very early. I'm 33 years old. I have to get screened like now, obviously, instead of like the typical 50 years old. So he also this is something that typically, not always, happens to older people or people of middle age, especially when you really want to start screening for it. But yeah, man, he was such a strong fucking guy, man, and it blew my mind that the guy not just was a thespian, working actor, great. The guy did action movies, man. The guy did movies that were kind of rigorous on the body. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I'm like, wow, bro. I was even more saddened because I'm like, one of the, like, what seemingly, without knowing obviously the guy personally, and details like that, what seemingly is a great guy, one of the good ones, man. That and you know, it sucks, dude. It really sucks. But you know, the besides the strength, obviously, of somebody like that, and somebody like my mother, which has been, you know, for, you know, 2 years, and she still actively, you know, takes treatment. She'll go off a couple of months of some treatment. You know, obviously, you know, let herself rest, and you know, things like that, because you know, chemo can be a little harsh. Um, you know, but I'm sorry, I was actually making the point about like what stage four is for something like that. Um, Colon cancer doesn't start off at stage one. If you have a cancerous thing in there, it starts off automatically at stage three, because you're so close to lymph nodes. It's like a highway interchange, as a doctor kind of explained to me, of the body. There's a lot of areas where things can go. It's in your abdomen. All of your vital organs are super close to that. You know, so yeah. So my mom basically ended up getting like a whole hysterectomy done completely, and obviously partial colectomy and things
Wow.
like that. And you see my mom, bro, and it's just like, it's not just because she's my mom. I'm being as objective as possible with this, bro. Like, the lady, you look at her and I'm like, she radiates life. And what I mean by that is, like, she's just happy, she's tough, and it's not a front. It's not a front. That's who she is, dog. Like, I see my mom go through tough times, and she does acknowledge, you know, when she's having, you know, I've seen my mom, you know, a little bit upset, things like that. It's not the norm. But because it also is a choice. So that guy made a choice, man. That guy made a choice to, you know, he was diagnosed 4 years ago, and he's like, I'm gonna keep living life, bro. I'm gonna keep living life. I'm gonna keep doing what I love to do, and what I respect also so much. Which either way, I would have respected what he did, but the guy didn't mention it to no fucking body, bro.
It was out of the blue. That guy went through life and he said, I'm not going to let this defeat me.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to do what I love to do.
Yep.
Keep it private, just for me and my family, basically, and just fight it on my own. That's it. I don't need
And
nobody.
it's not, but here's the thing. I don't think that he fought alone. Obviously, he had plenty of family support, which is obviously such a big deal. When you have that, it makes that a lot less burdensome because you. Hang on a second. Give me a second. We're gonna pause this for a second. Who is it? So the way because Brian lives here now. I think I told you about that. So
He told me he moved close, right? But
he
he lives in
he
the same
moves
building?
very. He literally lives like 2 doors down from me. So
Oh.
yeah, he'll we don't really see a whole lot of each other because we work crazy different schedules. But when he moved in, he got COVID. So he
I
stayed in his
remember that.
apartment for a while, and then when he was done with that, I was just like, you know what, bro, love you, man, but I'm gonna just go ahead and keep my distance for a minute. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, bro. It's like, yeah, the guy had, every reason to like want to. People can be hermits, you hear story about that because but the guy was just like, it wasn't even I'm gonna do this alone. He had his family. I think it was from the standpoint of I'm gonna continue living my life. I don't want anybody to be overly concerned. I don't want any preferential treatment. I don't want any over pity or anything like that. This is gonna be something that I'm just gonna continue to live my life. I'm gonna have people see me in the same way possible. And bro, I respect that, man. It's a personal decision, obviously, that is just like you don't know where it's going to take you. You have to be faithful. I think that really helps, obviously. But it's just one of those things where it's just so many thoughts ran through my head because even if I didn't have a personal connection, but I do, my dad was diagnosed in 2000 and I want to say 13 or no, 2012. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And my dad, it's such a weird thing and how this thing can act so differently in different people. My dad in 2012 had a colon that I remember the doctor telling me my dad had a full colectomy because, but he didn't have, it stayed stage 3 because it didn't metastasize anywhere, right? But the colon itself was riddled, I was told. Like he's like, yo, from here to there, it's just your dad had a very sick colon. But they were able to remove the whole thing. My dad didn't need an ostomy bag. He was just obviously reconnected. And my dad did about 6 months of chemo, right? So after the 6 months of chemo, as a mostly preventative thing, just to really seal it, he did a couple of PET scans throughout the years, was declared cancer-free, and the port, which is where they, that direct access point that they have, for people to take therapy like that, was removed. That's it. He was cancer-free, especially somebody that had a really sick colon, and it's just so ironic that such a sick colon, my dad still went through it. Don't get me wrong. My dad was a very strong individual too. My dad passed away of something, unrelated to that. But yeah, dude, like, but he still, it's a scary thing. You feel uncertain, and I remember, my dad was very strong, but very transparent. My dad was, a little scared, going into it, especially. And then you start, realizing that, if you still have time to fight it, or if you have that fighting chance, then you fucking do it because life is worth it, number one. But because, other people around you can really lift you up, and then you lift them up by just acting strong, man. So, man, dude, rest in peace to that guy, Chadwick Boseman, bro. I never met the guy, and I'm so inspired by his tenacity to live life genuinely, to be super, super selfless, to be a fucking badass because he was a badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did it. He blew that guy. Not only I don't mean to hijack, interject here, Freddie.
No,
But
go
that
ahead.
dude,
Hey, listen, I'm enjoying it as it goes, bro.
that guy didn't just play little here roles here. That guy played several iconic characters. Do you realize this? He did,
Jackie
and I might be
Robinson,
missing a few. He did
James
Jackie Brown.
Brown.
James Brown, Jackie Robinson. He did, obviously, he brought Black Panther, which is in and of itself a very, very iconic character that he made iconic. Sure, like, dude, like a lot of Marvel
Before him, it was
characters.
just one of the regular characters in the lot that nobody really liked.
Right.
But
It was
it
just,
was a very well played and
he brought what is the forefront like the center stage character in a major blockbuster franchise, and not only did he make it iconic in its own right. Dude, that movie ended up winning a bunch of Oscars, dude. That movie was a groundbreaking thing because, you know, I'm Hispanic, but I'm olive tone, and I've always, like the Cuban side of my family, although Hispanic, and they went through certainly a very tough plight leaving Cuba. At the same time, they're lighter skinned. My mom is darker skinned, not super dark, but like more like a little bit more
Yeah,
olive. My
that
grandfather was
yeah, like that dark skin.
right, and my grandfather was beef jerky color. You look like pemmican out there, but so I always kind of could relate to anything. I never felt like, wow, this person, speaks for me, or this person really represents something that like I kind of always was like cool, either way, but I do appreciate how seeing somebody so positive, a positive character, um, fictional or not, was just an absolute anchor for little kids, that if they're gonna watch this type of film, they have somebody that represents them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really cool, dude. So the guy brought to life maybe even more. I don't know his whole filmography. Obviously, I think now a lot of people are gonna start watching them, just to give him his proper respects. But Jackie Robinson, James Brown, and oh wait, he did what's the name of the Supreme Court justice, bro? They turned that shit into a fucking they turned that shit into a fucking action movie. Uh Gosh, dude, you're gonna have to do some research. If dude, he played a title role of a Supreme Court justice, right? An actual, you know, character or an actual person in real life, and he played the role of that guy. I can't remember his name, and
Well,
it's a
Chief
shame,
Judge, I
man,
think, is
because
John Roberts. He's as white as
fuck is it, bro? That guy's alive, very much so
yeah.
alive, and
He's
he's
still
the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. No, I'm talking about this was the first Supreme Court justice of color, of black Supreme Court justice,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think I
And
have it
so
on my head right now, but
so the guy, dude, he played literally three historical people. Like I don't know how many he Will Smith did, and he could still do more, I'm sure, but I can only remember him doing Muhammad Ali, which was a fucking great job, right? Dude, I still remember that movie, vividly. He did a great job. But this guy played three fucking. That's pretty cool. I don't mean to just like stay on that topic, but he did that, man. And yeah, man. So that's the crazy story of the day. Real sad story. I think there was another point that I wanted to make on it, but yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Such a young man, dude. That's not a young man necessarily disease, but yeah, and it caught me off guard. I remember seeing a post that I think he sent out, like a post, like a video online. I'm not sure what format, but it took root on all platforms, and I think some people were speculating, and even some people, like they always do, they try to be the class clown, and sometimes the class clown just makes an ass out of himself because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So he was really thin in one of these in this video. And so what people were trying to speculate as to what's going on with him. Was he preparing for a role of a really thin person? That's one of the first things I actually thought about when I saw when I digested the news, because I remember seeing that picture, or that the clip of him. It was very thin, and they were like, people were like trying to justify it, saying, well, he is a thinner guy, he's muscular, but maybe his real frame, but his face was very sunken in. And I mean, you can pull it up at any point. It's easy to find, and goes to show you, this was just a few months ago. So he was obviously in the latter stages of his life, man, and he really dealt with some real shit, because he looked ravaged at that point, by this fucking awful disease, man. It's a fucking,
it sucks.
it's
It really does
insidious,
suck,
dude.
man.
I mean, that's putting it lightly. Um,
2020 has been a damn terrible last year.
oh my gosh.
I
But you
mean,
know what?
it's been just. I'm at a point, honestly, that I will not be surprised with any news at this point. We lost so many good people over the years, but it's just because of
Uh,
circumstances of everything that's going on. It's like, who else, man? Just what else can happen? I'm not surprised at anything else anymore. It's sad to say because I'm like, bro, wow. Like when I saw the news last night, when I saw my phone, I saw it. I was like, I remember the same thing happened with Kobe. When I saw it with Kobe, I was like, nah, no. And that's how I seen everybody else posted. I was like, so when I saw Chadwick, I'm like,
Here's the thing.
I didn't even have to doubt. I was like, I know
I don't
some
know.
people make the assumption or these false reports, but I
You know,
knew.
the thing is that when you see that kind of like awful news pop up, right? You, the first thing I do before getting crazy about whatever I'm reading is I try to verify, first of all, who's reporting it and if everybody else of like reputation is reporting it. And if they are, then typically it's a real, story. It's a factual, truthful story. And so obviously the same thing with Kobe. And I remember going as far back as when Aaliyah passed away.
You
Like
remember?
what? What was it? 20 years ago, 19 years ago, or something like that. I
Yeah,
think
it
she
was
passed
in
away
the
like
early '90s,
no, early 2000s, bro. Get out of here.
2000s. No,
90s? You
yeah.
think 1990 she died?
Not in 1990, bro, but
You
hold on,
said early 90s. What do you want me to think about?
early
No,
'90s.
she
You're
died
right.
at she died in the two she died at 2000 or 2001. If you want to put money on it, then you can put money on it. I know I want to win some money. She died in 2001.
I'll tell you
All right,
right.
so this is something, guys, that we're learning. You definitely don't want
Oh no, you're
dead.
right. August 25th, 2001.
You don't want radio silence or podcast silence.
No.
So I'm just here. I was filling in the air because Alfred just said, "Oh wait, hang on a second. Let me research this."
Yeah, I'm doing the production side over here. I'm over here.
Says the guy that had to stand up over here and go address his neighbors that were
No,
inviting him to
that's
go
fine.
eat.
Listen, we crop that out. I ain't gonna see it in the video. My man had a visit over here, so he had to take care of that.
Somebody
Did I
was,
hear you say that
my
they brought you a T-bone steak dinner?
no. I actually I
We're
uh I
sharing
ordered
that,
a
man.
I ordered a steak on Uber Eats. Shamefully, I was dude
Someone's having a hard
today.
time financially. Look at that.
Well, I had definitely had a rough day. So when I got out of there, I said, "I'm hungry as hell. How am I gonna, you know, por lo menos have un gustico?
I
How
feel
am I
that,
gonna
bro.
take the sting off of the bitter part of the beginning of the day? Because I work in the service industry ultimately, and although I may be climbing the ranks, I still, deal with a lot of different, people that for better or for worse, it requires your awareness, your energy. I'm constantly, I take pride in what I do. I like doing, what I spend a lot of time doing. I've been in the service industry for a very long time. That's my background. So I enjoy working with people and addressing people and helping them, find solutions to their problems. And if they're coming to me for wherever I may be, how I can make their stay or their experience better. That's what I love that. But
Yeah, man.
when we're
You're
dealing
all
with
around good customer service and hospitality, man.
oh, you know me, kid, man, I'm just a friendly kind of guy. So, I might
Yeah,
as well
man.
just turn
Hey,
that into
welcome,
some,
welcome to the club.
man, might as well monetize that character trait. Uh, but whatever, dude. So, dude, today I was just like, when you work in that, whether you're a server, a bartender, a maitre d', a concierge, or whatever you are, when you deal with people and you deal with a lot of people in volume wise within a very compact uh, span of time. I've worked harder physical jobs, you know, as a a younger man and stuff like that. I've helped Danny move, and that was obviously our friend Danny, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
He has a moving
Gotta,
company.
gotta give him a shout out.
Man Cab Movers, y'all.
Yes,
And
sir.
this is not
Man
this is
Cab
not
Movers, man.
because if he had a shit company, I would probably find a way to not bring it up. This man and his brother and his father before him, and
Yes,
still
sir.
currently,
Amen.
Manuel is still doing it. Let me tell you.
Yes. If you are
Dude, they
in
have a
South Florida and you need good prices, quality, and timely fashion moves, doesn't matter what it is, you contact Man Cab. Man
Move.
Cabs Move.
Ooh, that sounded nice when you got
You
close
like
to
that,
the
right?
mic.
You like that. Man Cab.
Well, you know what Joe Rogan says whenever he has like a guest that is not used to talking with a microphone. He says you have to be about a fist's length away from the microphone to really sound
Let me put
the way
this.
you want to do. You want to make that real time adjustment. You want, it's okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no,
we're
it's
still
fine.
working
It's
through.
fine.
We're working through the kinks, Freddie. We're working through the kinks.
Yeah, we're working through the kinks. It's been 3 weeks, yo. Y'all can't go ahead and just blame us on everything. It's been 3 weeks.
Yo, so what were we? Oh yeah, so but what got us to the man cave topic over here? Are we
I
gonna
don't
draw back to?
even
We're gonna
know,
we're gonna
bro.
have to make several edits, bro.
Listen. I'll say this. Today's episode had so far has had, a direct and just real life situations that things have happened and things that have affected us individually, not just with all kind of circumstances. But, we try to keep it lighthearted, but there is one more topic that we do have to address, elephant in the room, which is Mr. Blake, the shooting of Jacob Blake.
Oh,
And what's going on.
lighthearted, yeah. We try to keep it
We
lighthearted.
try to keep it lighthearted, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen,
Super cotton candy.
Thanks. But we gotta address it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like we keep going back into the same ditch.
What else can we say? It's not even about that anymore, bro. We already know anybody that has a rational thinking mind, anybody that cares about, I don't want to just throw out the term equality, but anybody that just look at your life, right? Look at the way you fucking live. If you have any sort of privilege, and what I mean by that is if you're not waking up on a sidewalk, okay? If you live in a decent home, and I'm not talking about, amenities. I'm talking about if you live in a functional environment, okay? Consider yourself somewhat privileged, whether you're black or you're white, right? So when we talk about equality, man, and people don't really understand what that means, it's not just about, oh, well, you could just pick yourself up by the bootstraps, or look at me, I made something out of myself. This is not about that, man. This is about the playing field at large, right? That we all have, that we're all on, and how these things can be just stacked against you, man. It's that simple. So when you have literally in this, because of the, okay, so you have two examples. What much more do you want in terms of being really crystal clear on what the fucking problem is when you have two examples within this, the span of a couple of days stemming from the same issue, with Jacob Blake getting shot 7 times in the back, dog.
Point blank.
Let me tell you something. Point blank. Let me tell you something, bro. If a home intruder comes in to your house and you shoot that motherfucker in the back, he might have a case against you because you shot him when he was attempting to flee, which means he was no longer a threat to your life. Now, they might say, oh, we thought he was reaching for a gun. That obviously wasn't the case. He just didn't want to stand for that shit. But they shot him like cowards in the back 7 times. 7 times. That's 7 times.
Yeah.
And then, so then obviously that brings forth protesting, whether it is peaceful, whether it is, then you have riots. And then you have this child still, legally
moron.
a child. But hang on a second. Moron, yes, of course. Will have to carry the heavy consequences of his actions.
Taking
100%. 100%. But we know the facts. What we're talking about now is you have that shows you the fucking dichotomy in the system, right? The stark contrast, right? So you have a black guy getting shot 7 times in the back. You got a 17-year-old white kid walking around with a rifle, an assault rifle, dangling from his neck, like, protecting other people's property. It's like, dude, I'm for the Second Amendment, and I said this to somebody today, I'm for it as I am for driving. We expect people to drive responsibly and legally, okay? We don't condone driving under the influence of any sort, right? We don't. In Miami, we have fucking assholes that don't know what the little thing on the side of their car is for turn signals. That's irresponsible driving because they just cut you off. So guess what? I expect something that is equally and sometimes more consequential, but we're not even getting into gun laws yet. We're just saying that the kid is a white kid, 17 years old, whatever, and he's allowed to just waltz on by like nothing fucking happened. And guess what? If you think that, and you know what, bro, God bless the good cops, bro, really, for real, because they're out there doing their job.
Yeah,
but fuck the bad cops, bro.
Police officers in my family.
I got a cop in my family too.
You know how
what I'm saying? And it's a tough job. But let's not mistake it that unfortunately sometimes this job is made more difficult on themselves. Whether the just pay for the sinners in this case, like in many other aspects of life.
One bad apple ruins the path.
Bro. And here's the thing, bro.
Or at least the way that not just society, but at least how it's perceived that currently we still have this view on police being, and in many cases, it is right. It is exactly on point. A lot of police officers don't have no fucking business being cops. They should not be.
We know that. Oh, of course. But
bad.
Hang on a second. Let's not digress too much real quick. What we're talking about here is what else can we say? When you brought this thing up, we're like, okay, what we can say the same thing that we said about all the other unarmed black men that got fucking ended because of some stupidity, because of a straight up double standard, right? And then so that goes to show you, it's like, and then you still have people defending it, bro. Today I saw somebody post, and it was funny because it's funny how these super duper right wing pro, I'm not just talking about pro Second Amendment, but pro 100% irresponsible use and flaunt of and abuse of the Second Amendment, because they're not using their Second Amendment, they're abusing their Second Amendment. They're using it wrong. Okay, so this guy posts a picture of this guy that I don't know if he's an NRA representative or a legal representative, but he's a black man, and he's I'm assuming right wing, pro gun, and pro gun in the ways that I just mentioned, obviously. Yeah. And he's just making the legal case for that kid's name. I don't even know what the fuck his name is. It's not important to me right now. And so he's making a legal case. And I told the guy that posted it, we had a respectful chat about this, because I was like, look, bro, I'm not going to lie. This is bullshit. What you just posted is bullshit. And I mean that with all due respect, because you weren't the one that created the content, but you're perpetuating this shit by posting it. And I'm going to tell you why I think you're wrong. And we had a respectful conversation after that. But I told him, I was like, look, man, doesn't matter what you think about protests. Doesn't matter what you think about where the riots get taken. Doesn't matter any of this shit. What matters here is this is where when you have these like absolute, skewed visions, you start to create justifications and for these scenarios. The kid is 17 years old with a semi-automatic rifle, I think, if I'm not mistaken, across state lines, which is a crime, among other crimes that I'm sure he committed. And then he just goes over there. He's like, oh, he was protecting businesses. Fuck that shit, bro. I feel for other businesses when they go through things. If there's any other protection, if I happen to be there, right? If I'm having dinner and something's going down and I say, fuck, let me go be a good Samaritan. Let me go help. But this kid was a zealot. Let me tell you what a zealot means. He was just 100% skewed in his perspective as to what it is to stand for, you know, or stand against these looters and things like that. And so he goes over there and he takes a fucking gun and he ends up, for whatever the reason being, shooting these people. So the legal defense was self-defense, one of the aspects of it. I'm like, fuck that shit. You want to know why?
Self-defense to a fist.
It doesn't even matter. No, you know what? No, yeah, of course. If somebody comes at me, hey,
yeah, you can cause a lot of damage.
No, time out. Hang on. I gotta finish.
One thing is hands, and other things are bullets.
Doesn't matter. Hey, no. Hey, I gotta disagree with you. I have to disagree with you because if I have a weapon and somebody comes over here to try to attack me and he gains an upper hand real fucking quick, you think I'm gonna duke it out? No, fuck you. If you're the aggressor and you're trying to come get me, I'm gonna shoot you, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's simple. I don't own a gun, but I can see that logic, and that's why I support the Second Amendment
I get you
in that regard. What I mean is, the self-defense, guess what? It wasn't self-defense because you, by virtue of crossing into a place that isn't even your fucking hometown, isn't a personal business of yours, you put yourself knowingly in a position where you were going to get riled up. Number one, something was gonna incite you
basically
to do what you really wanted to do going there, which is to use your gun. So that's what the abuse of the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment is your right to bear arms, right? Among the other nuances of that law and that protection, right, as your rights. But it's to have it so you can defend yourself, not so you can go fucking looking for problems and then justify it by using those means. You know what I'm saying? Had he not gone there, the best way you could defend yourself is to not put yourself, first of all, in that's what they tell you when you go to little kid karate, bro. When you started karate when you were a kid, they're like, hey, look, listen, you're learning how to fight. This doesn't mean you're gonna go around fucking kicking people's asses. Yep. You're gonna go around so you know that you can absolutely whoop that ass if you absolutely had to. Don't you think that if you're carrying an AR-15, that you think that you can absolutely end a whole lot of people's lives real fucking quick? You don't need to prove it to anybody, bro. So don't, like what that kid was, he went there. That's what the mentality is over here, bro. So yeah, and then they try to justify it, they try to protect it. Here's the legal things, and then they try to take away from the actual black man that got shot, or in the case of what's the gentleman I'm forgetting already? George Floyd. They got killed in police custody. They tried to take away merit from their humanity, which is just humanity, with or without your qualifiers. So they just say, oh, but this guy wasn't a saint. Oh, but this guy had outstanding warrants. Oh, but this guy was wanted for this. Let me tell you something, bro. There's dudes in death row, in which, whether you agree or not that they should have been dead a long time ago, there's still people are given due process. That's the thing. People think that in this country it's because it's got to be this way, by guns and that. No, over here, the beauty of this country is that you can have a difference of opinion. And when worse comes to worse and push comes to shove, what you have is due process. So we don't make hasty decisions. That's why I don't know if I'm getting it 100% right, in the Senate, it's not 51-49 majority wins like that. No, it's got to be a super majority. That way things aren't constantly flip-flopping. You know what I'm saying? But back to the point over here, and I'm sorry, I get real hot.
Go ahead. Hey, listen. We need that hot topic. We need that.
You know what I'm saying? No, I hope we have less hot topics, but I get hot about this topic, bro. It goes to show you, bro. It goes to show you that, and people don't acknowledge it, that there is a complete double standard, to say the least, in our society. And I think really in civilization, to be quite frank with you, because injustices happen in other countries, but this country is supposed to be a beacon of that, right?
We're supposed to be leading the charge in the new normal for what America should be.
So yeah, bro, it was
potato
same
salad that tastes like
bro. And then you have the case with, we're still waiting on the people that killed Breonna Taylor to be brought to justice, and they have not been.
That's another one, bro. I feel
these are people that I'm like, hey, dude, the qualified immunities, the things like that cops have a hard job, especially when you are trying to do the right decision, or when you're trying to defend people and defend good versus evil, which is a very nuanced thing sometimes, but sometimes it's very blatantly obvious, right? When you have that, that pressure on you. You got to make quick decisions, and mistakes will be made, and that's humanity. And sometimes, although horrible, and I hope it never has to be the case, you have to be willing to accept that. That's it. We don't live in a utopia. We don't live in a simulation where things are perfect. We live in a place where things happen. But when you have dudes, bro, that you have more than enough proof where their hearts are at, where their minds are at, and where their prejudices are, and we still think that things are working just fine. It's just because, and I hate, and I always hear this word, and I really had to think about what it meant to me when I hear, oh, you're privileged or this and that. And sometimes, yes, people are too quick to be, super cancel culture or social justice warriors and things like that, and they don't really practice what they preach. But when you have, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But when you have things like that, it's like, bro, it really, really pisses you the fuck off, bro, because it's just like, dude, you're privileged. And that's what privilege is. When it's not, when you think, well, it's just fine. No, because you have the privilege thus far in your life.
You're on the right
to
side
not
of the
have,
fence.
you're not concerned about this. So this is where empathy takes, maybe you should make empathy the focus of your approach in life, where you can think, fuck, I don't have to deal with something like that. I don't deal with anything like that. I live in a great neighborhood.
Exactly.
I don't live in a mansion, but I live a good, happy life, bro. It's pretty simple, but I have the right to live peacefully, bro. You know what I'm saying? And us as Hispanic people, especially in Miami, I think we do a really disservice to this cause of at least being empathetic. And I'll tell you why. Because we in Miami, I see a lot of and it's okay, you can be Republican, you can be Democratic, whatever, but especially when you start losing empathy for your own people, and nosotros los hispanos, I love us, bro, but we shit the bed a lot, you know what I'm saying, over here. We do some ghetto shit. But the fact of the matter is that we are so protected and insulated in this community down here in Miami-Dade County, and now
like
by
world,
extension,
believe it or not.
and even by extension to a degree, Southern Broward, even Western Broward, there's we're a growing population there, but in this area of South Florida, we are not outliers. When I go somewhere else, I look different. I feel a little different. You know what I'm saying? I know that I know that I am part of the, the Latino community in those other places, right? Or that's how I'll be seen. In Miami, I'm just who the fuck I am, because I mesh in here, right? You mesh in here. We are the part of the actual backdrop, the background over here. We are that. Over there, we kind of stand, in other places, we stand out. So what happens? Then people over here don't really understand what Black people go through in this country, and then what Latinos go through in other parts of this country, where we're just pockets of the population, not where we are the whole entire base of the situation. And even then, different people are marginalized depending on how they look like over here, and let's be real. But over here we have it really good. And so people tend to lose that. And I didn't really make this argument today, but I because I didn't feel like spending too much time with this person, nice guy and everything. But one of the things that I thought about was, I'm like, let me tell you something, because he started going into the riots, and this is not right, and this and of course, and blah blah. And I'm like, look, first of all, my point to you was that I had an issue with how they're trying to make a legal argument for this kid, which is just covert for, just look, first of all, you're missing the point when you're trying to do that. But I told him, I was like, look, man, I wanted to say, and I thought about this, and maybe I should have, we're both Cuban, of Cuban descent. I have Nicaraguan descent as well, where I'm half and half, but I'm half Cuban. And all I ever heard growing up was oh, porque Castro, esto, lo otro, y la injusticia, y como callaba a la gente que hablaba contra él,
Contra él, yeah.
there's no fit, there is none still, but you know, back then when the revolution was just taking hold, which is when my father, as a child, and my aunt and my grandmother being the matriarch of the family, you know, and that generation made the real big sacrifice of just completely uprooting what they knew and coming over here. And all I ever heard was how, how all the injustices that they went through, right? All of the heroism when there were political dissenters, they hold their political dissenters, meaning people that have a contrary view to the government and are vocal about it. They dissent from the status quo. They hold those people in the highest regard, right? They celebrate that. My grandfather, my late grandfather, he died as a very, very young man, 26. We'll get into that story a long time. But my grandfather was part of a plot to try to at least kill this guy, and it failed. And a lot of these men that tried to do that were absolutely just done with. And my grandfather fled to the Peruvian embassy, and that's when my family just basically had to get the fuck out of there so they wouldn't be targets, and they ended up coming to this country. So people like that are heroes, man, and to this day they still are heroes to me. You want to know why? Because they stood up to a tyrant, number one, but because they fucking said, fuck this shit, I don't believe in this shit, fuck you, you're gonna have to come and get me, you know what I'm saying, or you're gonna have to put me down, you know what I'm saying. But wait a minute. So now we come to this country, and now we're real comfortable where we are again. And maybe it's a little trauma. Maybe we're just trying to, especially the Cuban community, but other people too do it, are trying to hold on to what they think that they lost in their country, or what their parents, have taught us that they lost. So wait a minute. Don't you think when you see people really frustrated with how life is going for them and for their people, and how maybe they weren't shot 7 times in the back, but it could have been them. Right? Don't you understand why they are hurt? Yes, and there's always a looter in the riot. There's always a looter in the riot. That's an old term. When there's a fucking fire and someone's aprovechándose and just taking advantage, that's a looter in the riot. And that's wrong, because they are just basically wolves in sheep's clothing. But when there's a frustration that by doing it the right way and just marching quietly and peacefully, that doesn't get shit done either, bro. And Martin Luther King did a lot because he was so fucking brilliant. But if you don't have, and that's why we celebrate him, and that's why and that's why he's still like in Atlanta.
I agree.
Yeah, of course. And you have to, but think, of course. And my point is this. As a Cuban American, especially somebody that I'm like, wait a minute, I see all of this support for a wannabe tyrant. Thank God for the laws that we have in this country with checks and balances, that this guy hasn't gone full-blown fucking tyrant, right? This president. But there's so many of these Hispanics that support him. And I'm like, don't you wish in your country more people would have stood up to the government that was tyrannical? And this government isn't tyrannical. This leader is tyrannical, but it just so happens to be he's the most powerful being. He's the most powerful person in government, world, yeah. Basically. He has the world's most powerful military at his command. He's the commander in chief, right? So you have I have this sentiment. I was like, bro, it's so hypocritical that you are supporting something like this, or you are completely against people and you cannot empathize with their frustration when all you heard growing up as a Cuban American was all about the heroism of all the political dissenters and about how fuck that government because they didn't let them do that, and I wish we would have overturned them. I'm not trying to say I love this country and I believe in the institutions. I wholeheartedly believe it. I've been reading a lot about and studying a lot about the revolutionary time, and not so much about the Revolutionary War, which incidentally is part of it, but about what were the original ideals in founding this country.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm digressing a bit, or maybe a lot, but what I'm saying is that that's what I thought about when I was talking to this guy. Like, listen to yourself talk, bro. Listen to yourself talk. You are putting down, you're talking about them as if they are all the scum of the earth. Well, that's what somebody thought about our family when they were in Cuba and they were dissenting against, or they just were talking about the injustices.
Hey, brother, you hit the nail right on the head with that one. You said it exactly.
I need another one of these, and I'm out of these right now, dude.
Oh, no. Listen, on your point, you made a perfect point with that. Every single country in the world has had points that they've had these kind of protests and these uprisings for particular real causes. And we see like, no, nothing's going to change there. So we don't try to acknowledge it here in America, where it should be a lot easier because we shouldn't be suppressed on our ideas and how we feel, and if we have things to speak up about. Like, bro, I told my girl the other day, I'm like, and this was when George Floyd the first news came out, and they're like, oh no, the death of George Floyd. I'm like, they have the right to be angry. You know what? And they have the right to go ahead and shit, even riot if they have to, but not loot, not destroy businesses.
And I think that,
dude, that I agree. I'm like, yo, you know what? You got to be angry. You got to go ahead and protest. Protest all you want.
You know how frustrating it must be if you just can't do anything. If you try, like, if you try to do it peacefully, look at somebody brought this up, bro. Look at Colin Kaepernick, which I have opinions about him as an individual. I think that he's kind of like, I don't have high opinions of him, but what he did and his right, I think should be 100% protected. And I think that him kneeling was a peaceful protest, and he was still criticized for that. So that when you do the complete opposite, you get criticized again. So what that is, it's just that you just don't want these people to fucking say a damn word.
You don't want them to feel anything. You want them to be fade into the darkness, and that's it. It's all good.
Exactly. And so, but to me, you know, real quick touch on Colin Kaepernick. To me, I thought it was really funny, you know, because I've always thought him to be a little bit of not as smart as he thinks that he is, or people make him out to be nowadays. I think that the actions that he has done, and then by virtue of just the attention that he's garnered, I'm sure he's done some good things as well. And kneeling has been important part of our history now. It's been literally, it's going to be, you know, at some point in the history books, because I think that it is an exercise of our First Amendment right during a time where it is not a popular thing to do. But I think it's funny coming from him, because I remember him in Miami one time. He played down here.
Yeah,
he had the audacity. Not just wear it. Maybe he wore it in San Francisco when he was there, but he had I don't know if he was just trying to stir the pot down here or just be controversial. This is prior to him kneeling, but he wore a shirt either with Che Guevara or with Fidel Castro.
Che Guevara. Not knowing the connections there.
But here's the thing. So I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever really caught up if anyone's really asked him about that situation at length. But I know that I'm not sure if he either knowingly or unknowingly wore that. But it seemed mighty ironic or mighty stupid, one way or the other, to come to this community that has obviously fled from that individual. You know what I'm saying? That individual probably caused a lot of pain in people that are maybe no longer here, like my grandmother and people like that, or even people of my dad's generation that are still around. You know, they caused them a lot of pain, and that individual was responsible because he was out there killing people. He was out there orchestrating, you know, massacres, basically,
mass murders,
fire squads, and things like that. You know, so when a guy like, and he's done some other things and said other things. It just so happens to be that he took this cause, which is a noble cause, and he has brought forth attention, whether inadvertently or not. I mean, not inadvertently, because definitely to kneel during the national anthem is definitely something that you don't necessarily just stumble upon. He obviously was making a statement, but I like that, and it really doesn't matter my opinion of him. I think that what he has become symbolically is more important, definitely more important. But it's right now, man. I think that we are doing more of this. We're all just pulling in and staying really staunch in our perspectives and points of views, and thinking that the other person for thinking differently is 100% the enemy. Where you have to step back for a minute and ask yourselves: do we want peace at this point, or do we just want to be right or validated in our stance?
I think both sides, and I say both, it could be multiple sides, believe that they're right and they're going to continue holding firm on their beliefs.
Well,
But
that's
I
clear.
think that for me, I think that we have to come to the table united and bring some change. If the people up top are not listening, will vote their fucking ass out.
But think about it,
Fuera todo
bro.
el mundo, from the
It's
bottom all the way to the top.
it's
They're
not even
not,
just vote them out.
bro. We put
Because
like our local leaders. We got I forget her name. I believe she works for the police department, police force in Florida.
Mhm.
White lady with light eyes, and her track record on convictions and follow ups and overturning certain cases that these people are basically innocent are still
Mhm.
stuck in jail, and people that should have gone to jail have been let off easy. And it's like we need to bring a change. We need to bring that impact of what we have to address. So I
Yeah,
think
man.
everybody just needs to vote. Realistically, I know it sounds crazy, but vote. Everybody needs to vote, 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 vote for your local elected leaders, for your judges, vote for your representatives. Vote, bro. I mean,
Yep.
at this point, brother, it's not just the presidency that we're voting for. It's in general everything. Whatever affects you in your community and as a country, you have to vote, bro.
I
So
agree, man. I
it's
agree.
it's been
It's
it's
a
been
lot
a
of that.
it's infuriating, bro. It's infuriating. I voted for my parties, for my portion, my local leaders, so they could be on the ballot coming up. And I voted by mail. I didn't give a damn. I was like, you know what? Whether it's in
Bro,
person, I'm
it got
voting.
to the point where this time as far as the general election is going to be different. I'll do that by mail, um, because I was registered already. But my local election, I went to the precinct. I went to my precinct,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that full. Fortunately, I was able to get in and out.
I've voted
I already
six
knew.
times already, in six different elections, and I'm like, this is the first time I voted for my local leaders.
But here's the thing: we like, and here's the problem, and we'll drop it off at this because I got my mama paying me, giving me a visit now, and she's coming from Coral Springs, so I'm gonna step outside and say hi to
Yes,
her.
us.
I'm a Dukes, strong lady.
Yes, sir.
Um, but what's the word I want to think about here? So it's not just about electing, because we tend to forget that these any politician, whether good or bad, and some justifiably cannot get all of their things that were on the platform, because obviously there's always going to be political opposition, and sometimes it's just impossible to get it through because they have power as
Yeah.
well on the other side. But it doesn't just stop at voting. That's an illusion. And it's a little bit more difficult because you have to do more research, depending on because here's when you go to the ballot, when you go to the poll and you're on your ballot, all the people are on it. Oh, president, but then you all the way down here, you have like fucking local magistrate, penny counter, whatever, trying to be funny. But in real life, when all these people have been elected and there isn't an election for the next 2 years, how do you follow through with or follow up with these people? You have to kind of see what the fuck they're doing. You have to see their voting records. You have to contact them if you know that there's an issue that's going to be up for discussion or voting, and you have to get there present. And that's what it's hard to do because we're so caught up with our lives, and it's there's a big machine, bro. And so you have to organize, and then that takes a lot of time. So, but it's a vital part to do it. So anybody who's listening here, if voting is important, but then it's also, then you voted these people, then fucking make sure they get the job done. And if they're doing a good job, or if they're really trying to do the what they said they were going to do when they were, you know, campaigning, then what you have to do then is help them. And how do you go against the opposition? You know what I'm saying? It's a constant fight, bro. And it's, voting is a start. Let's put it that way. But
Yeah.
it's not where the buck stops. The buck doesn't stop. It keeps turning. And right now, the reason why, you know, we see the president that we have now, and obviously the Senate majority, and all these things like that. The reason why is because they get to they organize more effectively. So,
Bueno, mi hermano, my brother, listen, on that point,
yeah,
we do hope that everybody goes out, votes, becomes more involved with their community. If you have an opinion and you have concerns about things in your day-to-day basis that you want to see change, address them. Send letters, call your local leaders' offices, push, but don't stay stagnant, and don't feel that your voice is not important. Everybody's important.
Yep. Yes, sir. It's worth the fight. It's worth the fight.
Before we go off, hey babe, go ahead. Come on over. Another thing also, because of the last 3 weeks has been crazy. You know what I mean, we haven't been able to record. Of course, I haven't been able to cut my damn hair. I'm looking like a mess. We got a new addition to the family.
Okay. Oh, where's the little fried chicken at?
There you go. Fried chicken, say hi.
Hey.
There she is.
What's it? What name did you give her?
Peaches. She's the color of a peach.
Yeah, she looks like a little peach.
She's adorable. Look at her.
Little tiny little peach.
She's a cavapoo.
All right, damn, dude. Congrats, bro. Congrats. That's what we're trying to get over here, me and my girl. But,
hey, man.
Our building.
Let me know. I got.
I wish, bro. Our building has a policy, and unfortunately, we have a great rate, so we're not trying to upset anybody over here.
I feel
hey, man, love you, bro. It was a fun. I'm glad we got back on this. It's been too long, but there was a lot of topics, and a lot of passionate opinions were made unknown. So
awesome. Next week we're gonna see if we can have a guest on the show, and we will be including small little segments, weekly segments, individually of our own opinions, probably about 5-10 minute clips throughout the week to help you guys, see our insight on our day-to-day lives also. So
for those that give a flying fuck,
yes sir,
we're gonna make you care.
And also, what else what we're thinking? Oh yeah, if you guys have anything that you'd like for us to bring onto the show and talk about, go ahead and send us a message. Listen, we'll be more than happy to debate it. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Be good.